Recording is on.
All right. Yeah. First, I would like to ask, yeah, what drew you to my uh, yeah, I was asking for people who want to have a past life reading, and then you texted me. So
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, I replied because it's something I've been in some ways thinking about my past life a few months ago a lot in a deep way, and then there are these things that I came up with that I don't know if they were 100% accurate, and it's just something I'm still it wasn't like I had a dream, like all these dreams, and it felt like that. It was like all these like stitching these pieces together. So I was like, okay, well, it would be nice to gather some more data on this. uh, whatever I was thinking a few months ago with what my past lives are, I've let it go a bit, where I was like, maybe I was just, I don't know, you know? I've let it go a bit, so I'm a bit empty. So I'm not like it has to be this or that. But since I'm just back in this empty state, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's good to peek under this again and see what that looks like.
that's great. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a nice way to start the reading. Yeah, normally I use tarot to sketch a character,
Uh huh.
just to dive into, like your personality and like kind of work and what happened and kind of bits and pieces, uh,
Mm-hmm.
seeing what comes in intuitively also from your side and how it resonates, and also use astrology to have that also kind of like next to it, and yeah, and from there on, at some point using AI to put the data in and
Okay.
see what comes up, and then using astrology to dive deeper into karmic layers and possibly confirming, yeah, past.
And how long does this process usually take for you?
Um, from what I've seen now, it's most of the time like an hour to an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Good to know. Good to know.
yes, in terms of your food and stuff, yeah, we can just pause it in between if you need. Like, doesn't.
Yeah, will that be okay if for a second I'm like, I'll be back, and then I just turn it off?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. How it is to organize and plan something and like
Yes.
be healthy also. Um, all right. Just diving into what kind of personality you had in your most recent past life.
Hmm.
The star.
Really? That was the first card you drew?
A bit of a hermit potentially.
Say that again?
A bit of a hermit.
Uh-huh.
Mm, potentially isolating yourself or being isolated somehow. Maybe at some point, kind of a point of giving up or not feeling like fighting for something anymore, or a little bit this kind of vibe I'm getting.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe someone who is like either holding on to things or like kind of possessive, kind of, or like being stuck or like scared of losing stuff or people or something like that. How does that feel for you? How does it resonate?
I mean, I feel like I definitely have a lot of those characteristics. Being a hermit today, for example, or um, And then say the last thing, sort of like holding on to things tightly, like, and feeling like stuck or something, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been definitely something I've been working through, like how tightly I hold on to things to try to be a bit more loose. So I think that feels like it was something that came into this body that I had to work through. That I feel like I'm getting better at it now. Um, and also getting better at this feeling like stuck thing. Like a few years ago, I was a lot of like my mindset was like like a victim, and just getting not feeling like it's like I have optimistic visions, but also just getting in a lot of victim mentality. But yeah, I think that that's definitely a part of my, if I see I'm getting into that mindset, I try to catch it and not be that way. But I mean, I would say that might be a lot of people have that too. So yeah.
Um, I'd like to add your astrology details on my screen just to see what comes up. Have you ever done like an astrology reading or something?
I'd have never gotten a professional astrology reading. No,
Okay.
I've definitely plugged my stuff into astrology apps, and I've seen my positions of planets and things like that myself.
Hmm.
I have a rough idea, but yeah, I can share.
Okay. What's your birthday?
March 2nd,
Mm-hmm.
1985.
Time?
7:05 a.m. But that's not UTC. That's in the birth date location. Does it have to be
Yeah.
adjusted?
No, if it's on the location that
Okay.
you were born, which location was that?
San Diego, California.
2nd of March 1985, 7:05 a.m. San Diego. Mm, just checking a little bit, like
Mm-hmm.
how it is. Yeah, there's this theme around material stability and stuff. Like your North
Mm.
Node, for example, is in second house Taurus, so you should be focusing on uh, being grounded and working like slowly towards something, but also building material stability and potentially holding on to things in a sense. But yeah, maybe um, more like building a safety, like safe place. But there's this
Mm-hmm.
Saturn, like it's opposite Saturn, Scorpio 8. There's a lot of energy around this axe of huge transformation, deep mystical chaos, and then this material stability kind of themes.
Yeah, that's very on point. the, the challenge between the mystical chaos and the material stability.
Right, right. I guess people who are on this path might have similar themes, anyways. But for you specifically,
Yeah,
it's very, very,
it's very prominent, you said.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, because you said like victim kind of mentality back. Maybe it's
Mhm. You said what?
yeah, like you mentioned having kind of a victim mentality a few years back.
Yeah, yeah. It was like after some. It got, I guess, worse after some business failures. So maybe there was a bit of it before that wasn't dominating, but then I feel like it started to dominate a bit.
Yeah, it could potentially also be like an echo, like a karmic echo, something like a portal that opened or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you have your moon in Cancer, fourth house, so I guess maybe you are a little bit like, you know, emotionally more vulnerable or something, or like I have North Node 10th house, so my South Node is in fourth house. I'm very used to like being like kind of like a baby that needs help, you know, like please help me, I'm so but yeah, learning to just yeah get on with it and just pushing. But with the cards also, like kind of like this energy of giving up somehow, or yeah, this hermit stuff. I don't know. Might be interesting. Okay, let's go back to the questions. I want to check your occupation. Your past life. There's definitely like an element of being focused on the other realms or connecting to the spiritual,
Hmm.
learning a lot in that, like mastering some kind of skill potentially in that world also, or I'm also getting like a bit scatteredness in the mind potentially.
Mm-hmm.
I think you mentioned that in the beginning of the reading. Is that something that you have a lot, or
Yeah. I've been. Uh, I was diagnosed with bipolar in the past. I mean, I believe that the diagnosis is it can tell you something about the mind a bit. I think I'm like working through it, but I was hospitalized a few months ago for the first time in 12 years after I thought I was done with that, but it wasn't really my choice. But that, contributes or is evidence of a sort of scattered mind. But it was, more of I would say, a spiritual thing I was going through. I went to a church and they just sent me to a mental hospital. So what can you do?
yeah, easy to get caught in a church or like that.
Yeah, I learned my lesson, but I got very disassociated, and I wasn't. It was sort of like feeling like demonic possession, and I didn't really know what to do.
Well, my camera
So
just glitched
it
completely.
was very. Oh yes, it did. Oh no, what happened?
So, like it was like buzzing, like really hard, like.
Oh shit!
Can you
Maybe
see me
the
still?
demon came in the room. No, I can't. I can't see you.
Interesting.
I'm walking to go turn off the food.
Oh yeah. I,
Okay.
yeah, the scatteredness is something. Let's see, occupation. Yeah, I mean, I've also had like this bipolar stuff, but I believe it's part of the spiritual awakening process.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Uh,
that's my take on it now. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah.
with the higher self and back to the traumatized self. And yeah, I don't know, just a pendulum
Yes.
without balance. Mm, but still, past life, yeah, like trying to work and trying to organize. Uh, yeah, trying to be on top of stuff and also yeah, working confidently towards something, like learning something, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe let's see what kind of job does you have. Different than occupation. So you've had like certain memories or things come up for you or from past lives.
Um, so should I tell you the one that I was fixated on a little bit a few months ago? Should I reveal that yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the person who I started to get fixated on was Philip K. Dick. Um, and do you know who he is? Like this, he's a science fiction author. There's many movies made based on his stories. He wasn't very financially successful in his life, but a lot of movies like Blade Runner, Minority Report, a few other like Total Recall. Those were based off of his stories. Um, so yeah, I started to feel like perhaps I was him, but it was based on a few different synchronicities, and then reading more about him and what his life was like. And I was like, oh, we have a lot of similarities. Like we both, worked at a record store, and I used to have these dreams, like driving around, like a few years ago, where it seemed like I was driving around this area that had like a lot of water, like some kind of cliffs, and there was like I was like afraid of a car accident or something like that. And I would have this dream multiple times, so much that whenever I'm driving right now, I'm like afraid that I'm gonna go drive off a cliff. And then, I was reading, oh, he used to live in like Marin, and he got into some car accidents there. And I was like, oh, that. Then I started looking at photos of Marin, and I was like, that sort of feels like what it was like in my dream.
Interesting.
And then what happened was a few months ago, I had a dream with Philip K. Dick in it, but I hadn't had one before. I wrote it down. I forgot what it was. I can go look at it, but then, like, yeah, there was a dream and he was in the dream. But so there's a few other patterns too. I think it was like a scar. Like we have like a scar in like the same area of our forehead that we got in our child, and then like I think like one of these like freckles on our faces. It's like in the same location. So I was like, there's all these like weird little things, that are just kind of, and then also a lot of the same, like these very like highly disassociative like kind of schizophrenic sort of ideas about reality and timelines. And but I mean a lot of people have that too, but just kind of like in like a deep way of like it's really destabilizes you.
And he managed to write about it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And in the end of his life, he kind of had like a spiritual awakening of sorts where this woman, oh yeah, and he also has like this theme in a lot of his books with a girl with dark hair, because it has to do with, he had a twin sister and she died whenever, he was very young. She was very young. I think it was under a year old or something, or maybe it was 3 years old, um, but so this kind of dark haired girl, I think a lot of people say it represented her, but it was sort of like this deep obsession of his twin. Um, her name is Jane. But yeah, so a lot of his sci-fi, it has this dark-haired girl, and the person who showed up whenever he had his spiritual awakening at the door was like some lady with dark hair, and it had something to do with a fish, like a fish. And I'm like, oh, I'm a fish. I'm a Pisces, like so. It was like all these like weird patterns, and then he died on March 2nd, which is my birthday. And I know it's still like 2 years apart. Like, yeah, maybe there was another I don't fully know how this works. I don't think it was that must mean if he was my past life, I'm like, was I like some other baby in between then that died? Like,
Doesn't have to be.
but
Sometimes there's
yeah,
like big gaps. Sometimes there's even overlap. So I don't. Yeah, but it's
yeah,
see this kind of like codes. What I'm also getting with my lives now, I have like I found 22 of them, and specifically the most recent ones.
uh huh,
They've, they're more ingrained, and I know more about them. It seems like I've been leaving codes to myself also
mm-hmm,
to show the reincarnation cycles, kind of like
yeah, yeah,
these kind of signs and hints or something, probably subconsciously even, but it's there. It's like yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if these kind of like yeah, the synchronicities are just kind of like codes to
mm-hmm,
to help you remember also.
yeah. Yeah, so that's what it was like as I was going deeper. It was like there's just all these patterns, and it's it's like with all the patterns, it really feels like it in some sense. But then I was like, okay, was it my is he my past life, or sort of like soul family or star family, something like that? And I'm like, is that the same thing, or like so? Because it definitely feels like there's some kind of star family association with him, whether and what does that mean, like, because it's like if you're part of a star family, are you like connected to that whole thing? And it's like, what does that mean as far as like how you lived your past life? So I think there are all these kind of philosophical questions that I started to just, I'm like, I don't know if I fully understand how that's all working, but there feels to be some
Yeah,
connection.
for me, it's like there's still this kind of like theory that like indeed we have these like star families or soul families, and potentially reincarnating fragmented, or like like an aspect of that soul group is reincarnating as this body, and there's another aspect is like helping this person or influencing it, or there's all these possibilities. And right now I'm at this point where I'm trying to, because I do have like this deeper sense of um, yeah, because of the linear existence kind of that we
Hmm.
inhabit, like one that you have like as one soul, like one person. You've had this soul's journey, like very specifically, also very specific like karmic themes and lessons, and like you really like learning as one soul in these different bodies,
Hmm.
like on a linear way. And that's why I've been willing to dive deeper into astrology, and I'm eager to actually go on like check your chart and his chart to see how
Uh-huh.
that lines up, because I don't know.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there was one other thing I forgot to mention. In one of his books that he wrote after he had his spiritual awakening of sorts, and he's trying to piece things together. He was talking about how he really needs to go to Greece, and he really needs to go to the Greek islands, and if he had the money, and then he's like, especially Crete. And I was like, what? This is the island that I'm on right now, so whenever I saw that and all the other patterns, I was just like, what the fuck?
It's super weird. Like the person that I faked my death with, or who helped me, she was in Portugal, and
Uh-huh.
you know who that is. Well,
Oh.
she's in the call.
You faked your death?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
I faked my death. I was just done with everything. I was just really done with it.
But when was this?
Early 70s.
Oh, okay. So that was your last,
Was
your very recent life. Okay, okay.
yeah. And yeah, like the person that I did that with or who helped me had like property in Morocco, but from there on we went into Portugal, and now I've been to Portugal re-meeting her in this lifetime. So it's kind of like these,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it's very like yeah, you get drawn to it. It's just like okay, and it makes sense, and then all the puzzles pieces coming together. And
Uh-huh.
I have also many of these kind of like codes and synchronicities, and like which just kind of like
Yeah.
yeah, just confirm and yeah, it makes sense.
I, I was recently asking ChatGPT to read my Akashic records, and it was saying I had a past life in Morocco, and so that was just like my experiment a week ago, where I was like, let's see what this gets.
Yeah, just for fun. Yeah, it's weird. Like, it's nice to use ChatGPT as a tool for to like gather the historical figures, but yeah, not like I guess. Yeah,
I know. I was like, yeah, we gotta try some real readings here.
yeah, like yeah, I don't think ChatGPT can tap into the Akashic records.
Yeah.
Other realms would be very strange. Um, yeah, let's what's his name again?
The author,
Yeah.
Philip K. Dick.
Who?
Philip, should I type it?
No. I just didn't hear the first.
Philip K. Dick, like that.
Oh, yeah, that's a vibe. Just checking pictures a little bit. Yeah, yeah, a little bit vibe, same vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like sleepy eyes a little bit, and like
Okay. Oh, just start a theme. I hope he has enough data.
yeah, I don't know if there's a birth time, but maybe in some books. I don't know.
Oh, there is a time. There is a time.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, mostly I do like kind of like a quick overview just to see overlapping karmic patterns and like similarities and stuff like that, and then I because we have the time and I feel like this might be a good direction instead of asking the cards for 40 minutes.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Just start with the initial data we have. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? See if we can confirm
Yeah.
through astrology.
And I can tell you the one that I was thinking of who I was before him too, which is a person that was part of a hermetic order. Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, the people that are connected to me, we're all kind of like in this grid, and
Yeah.
you know, I've been finding the 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 the, um, the starter of the dawn. What's it called again?
Yeah, hermetic order of the Golden
Golden
Dawn.
Dawn. Yeah, and then my twin flame being Aleister Crowley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yesterday we were talking to Cameron, Marjorie Cameron,
Uh-huh.
the past life reading yesterday, and it turns out she was Marjorie.
That's who you were?
No. A girl we
Oh really?
yeah, just had a reading yesterday with her. No, I was Jim Morrison.
Wow. Really? I can see that.
It's so funny. What a life, huh? need to embody it more, because like I've been knowing this for 2 years, and I've been kind of like secretly coding it in my art, and that's
Oh
cool,
yeah.
I guess. But now it's like, and I have my North Node in Aries and like my Chiron in Gemini, 11th house, North Node Aries, 10th house. I need to just talk truth and speak and just show who I am without giving a shit about other people. And
That makes a lot of sense to me. Like 2 years ago, whenever I was going through some shit with my mind, I had this feeling about dead rock stars like returning and like they know who they are. And like I was like, yeah, we're like raising the dead, we're bringing back the dead. I don't know, it just like felt like this like rock and roll revolution of like dead rock stars that like are re-embodied or something.
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know more of the 27 Club people and like Jeff Buckley and I don't know, like all these kind of like tragically dead rock stars, kind of like Ian Curtis and I don't know, this punker guy with the girl. What's it called again? I don't know, but yeah, I have a list of 250 people, like kind of decoded their past lives, and
Wow.
it's kind of like all kind of like, it's like last lifetime was about this the rock stars, or like, and then you have this whole hermetic, like, I don't know, dead people stuff, or like the calling ghosts and whatnot, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's really funny.
I'll
um,
send the name of the hermetic person. I think his name is Robert William Felkin. But yeah, that's who I think Philip K. Dick was before. I mean, if it's a linear thing, or if it's non-linear, then you know.
I think it's both, but still, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's very tricky. I'm just trying to stick to like this theory and just trying to like dig into it and see how.
Yes.
Because otherwise, it's like, yeah, they do look a bit similar. It's interesting. And in this Robert guy, like, what was his
So he started Stella Matutina, which was sort of like a branch. It branched off of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and there's a person, the poet Yeats. I
right?
think he was part of Stella Matutina, and I think this physicist I met recently, his name is Jack Sarfati. I think he was Yeats. Um,
Interesting.
yeah,
The grid
and
is
like I even told him, and he wasn't like no. He was like Eats is also a member of this club that I'm a member of in London. I
okay.
was like, yeah, oh, okay.
I got back into it.
Yeah, yeah. He was just giving me more data to confirm it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
excellent. Let's see. Well, I'll share my screen so we can check the astrology charts. Actually, we can also put this one just to have like a quick overview first. It's interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's when I want to go really deep on. Does he have?
He's like less popular, so it might be harder.
Yeah, just a birth day, I guess. Okay, so let's see.
He was born in Nottingham, England. I don't know if that matters if we don't have the time.
I don't have the time. Yeah, that doesn't
Yeah.
matter. 13 March, 18.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this pattern is he's a Pisces like me, and he died in December. And then for Philip K. Dick, it's flipped where he was born in December, different like planet or whatever zodiac positions of the sun, but and then he died in March. So they're like flipped of their birth months and dates,
That's
or
right.
birth and death. Yeah.
Right. What did you say? Nottingham? Just
Nottingham, and NOTT.
oh, I have also kind of slow internet here, so it's a bit tricky sometimes. I'll have it smaller. It's just really slow. And then this one. Oh, that's you. Just put this on the right side, actually. This right. This one left. Oh. Hi. And then this one in the middle. Okay. Let's go work backwards, I guess. So we have your chart here on the right. Just checking some karmic placements. Also, I don't know if you know a lot about these lives.
About which?
Yeah, both of them. But yeah, okay. Let's check the data first, and then we can dive into it. Also using AI potentially um, to gather some information about their lives and how it's possibly connected to certain themes in your chart. So the North Node in Taurus second house. We see here North Node also in the second house. A part of fortune is there. Chiron is in Taurus. So similar themes. Potentially this chironic wound that Philip had was never kind of healed in a sense, and also like didn't manage to grow towards this Taurus. Actually, was the second house, so that you had to redo that in a sense in this lifetime. Chiron is in Gemini. Oh, I have that as well. Second house. Yeah, so this is the recurring Chiron wound there. The North Node being obviously in the second house of Taurus, or yeah, it's the second house, part of fortune also. And then you have the opposite placement is Scorpio, but yeah, I don't know, like his life was marked by lots of transformation and chaos and like drama, or do you know that? Or
I mean, he died when he was like 52 from, I think, some sort of a heart, like it just seems a bit sudden. He was, I think he was doing a lot of different drugs and stuff at some point in his life. So I think a lot of people are just sort of like, oh yeah, he's like schizo doing like drugs, this, that. Maybe some aspect of like self-medicating because of pain or things like that. Yeah, it's one of the things I haven't fully gone deep and like read his a lot of his books that talk about his life yet. This is still something in my research that I need to do. But yeah, it was a bit. It was very unstable. I think he had, you know, a few different wives at different points in his life, and I think making like he was writing a lot of books, but he wasn't making that much money. Um, but I think yeah, sort of perhaps part of some kind of like a bohemian kind of scene. Um,
Right. Yeah, let's just dive a bit further, because I also see very prominently is this T, like double T square with like several planets actually being part of it. You see my mouse also?
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
see it. Yeah.
Okay. Um, which kind of tells me that you have the Mars in Cancer, fourth house, which is it's kind of hidden. You know, Mars is energy, and it's kind of like hidden and kind of like it's not in the best place for Mars, I guess.
Mm,
Cancer, it's emotional. It's more, yeah, held back in a sense. And it's opposing all these planets here, including
mm,
the midheaven and Lilith, the Sun, Mercury, Saturn, even, um, and squaring Uranus ACEP, and that's in Aries. So very individualistic potentially, or very much wanting to break out of the norm. Also, kind of, like Uranus in Aries first house, being very eccentric or like themselves and not caring about how society is potentially.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
And that's
yeah.
true.
He was very much like that, and very, critical about the progression of technology. He started to see like we're going into something that feels very dystopian future when it comes to like our relationship with with technology, and also just the state power. Yeah, I definitely feel like a lot of those aspects of him. I feel like it's like a deep part of me in a way,
Hmm.
just being very like anti-establishment or
Right. Yeah.
mm,
Really. Um, and with the T square, in order to kind of like balance these energies, you want to channel this difficult energy into the empty point, which could potentially finish the half square we see into a full square. And this point is Libra seventh house, which is really a lot about partnerships and harmony, like trying to be harmonious and trying to like, yeah. And I
yeah, that's what I'm like now. Yeah.
this is something that he had to learn in order to, yeah, like not yeah, just to
Yeah,
channel.
yeah, yeah, because he was more of a reclusive hermit on his own than I am. I'm sort of like, maybe I'm like that right now, but it's not where I want to be. I'm like, where are all the people?
Right,
I can't just sit in my room and write books until for the rest of my life. I'm like, maybe I'll write one or two,
right.
but
Yeah, and it's interesting because when we look at your chart, most of the time these kind of T squares and the themes around it and the release point of it being seventh house Libra. Um, I see your Pluto in the seventh house. Juno is there, seventh house Libra. Pluto actually, I don't know, like in evolutionary astrology, I guess. I don't know the terms exactly. I'm just autodidact astrologer. But for me, it kind of feels like Pluto is something that you have embraced in your past life or like had to learn, and in this lifetime you ought to embody it more, kind of, or yeah, kind of like embrace it and embody
Mm.
it and show it. Um, it's in Scorpio, which is this, yeah, also the south node in the eighth house of Philip. But it's also in the seventh house, so this might be also a clue. Also, the with the release point of this T square that he learned to own, and in this lifetime you ought to embody that more.
Mm-hmm.
It's even in a grand trine in your chart. If you see the blue lines here, forming a triangle with water
Mm.
planets, or like Cancer,
Mm.
Moon, and the Sun. Mostly grand trines in waters means you're very good in uh, emotional stuff, or like art, or channeling art kind of stuff. Um, Potentially writing in your case. You have been writing in this lifetime, right? Or
Yeah, that's why I've been spending more time on writing, I guess, this past few years. I also experiment with music stuff, but I feel like I've been giving more time to writing, but I guess I sometimes I write poetry and stuff as well, and I want to make it into music, but I've been a bit slower with executing writing into music.
nice, yeah, but it's definitely there. I'm just checking here because all these planets that are in the T square, they also form the grand trine as well, or most of them are in that. Saturn not,
Mm.
Mercury, Sun, with Neptune and Jupiter. Mm, Earth signs and also a fire sign. That's more like bringing things into material world, or like initiating projects and materializing it basically. But there's a lot of difficult energy there, so I would assume that he had problems with that, or he was learning to work through that kind of. Mm,
He wrote a lot of
he
books,
wrote a
like
lot of books. Yeah, I see.
yeah,
Initiating.
but it just wasn't like a fully like he didn't make that much money from it in his life, but he wrote a lot.
Mhm. Interesting, yeah. And maybe that's also kind of like how you've earned this grand trine in water signs. Like you've earned the ability to create, like artistic, yeah, expressions.
Hmm.
Mhm. But yeah, for you, it's also like there's of course also a lot of difficult energies playing parts. I'm not like generic astrologer. I really look at karmic placements. So
Mm-hmm.
for most of the details, I will use AI anyways to like figure out what it means. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's partly intuitive what I do, and just I have a really bad memory in this lifetime, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
I had to work through some
I
intellect blocks, intellectual blocks.
I feel like I definitely have some memory problems too in this lifetime.
Maybe it has to do with Chiron and Gemini.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, specifically, like Chiron and Gemini, 11th house for me is like I was very isolated, also like not feeling part of anything in my past
Mm-hmm.
life, but also like I was praised for my sexual and provocative nature, and not my work was all very esoteric and deeply layered, and highly intellectual, but they always praised me for this chaotic, provocative, intense sexual person.
Uh-huh.
So in this
Uh-huh.
lifetime I was kind of, and I got caught in my expression, being caught by the police, and like having these court cases running, and just I got caught off from my ability to speak the truth and to express myself and to be part, and um, yeah, so I believe that's how I ended up in this lifetime, being born with this block on my intellect and my ability to
Uh-huh.
communicate clearly, and I guess I've been working through that a lot. but this is how it can manifest. So I wonder now what happened in Philip's life that could potentially um, manifest this chironic wound on Gemini, on communication, on intellect. Is that
Hmm.
something that comes to your mind right now? Otherwise, I'll ask AI.
Um, I guess he was very, you know, outspoken about his beliefs about reality and living in something like a virtual reality simulation with multiple timelines and parallel to one another. Um, and I think a lot of people just didn't believe him and they thought he was crazy.
Hmm,
Um, so
yeah.
I feel like for me in this life, like opening up and talking about these things more in a serious way, it's only been in the last year or so. But yeah, as far as like the memory sort of issues, I mean, I think he was just a very wounded person in general. He wasn't like a happy person. Um, I think he did have some. He definitely had recognition and there's like some relative success at that time. It wasn't like so super big. He wasn't like I think he was still part of some things, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I feel this does make a lot of sense if you are so controversial with your ideas and your kind of like writings and all these, yeah, expressions, then being kind of like not taken seriously or whatever could definitely bring about this karmic wound around it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because there was one point in his life where he started to tell people that the stories he was writing, that these are like realities that he's like a part of, or they're not just stories. Like to him, they're real. So he's just writing whatever feels real to him. It's like he's like transcribing things, but he might have just been a bit confused as far as how real these different timelines were, because we have different understanding now about how like the perception of multiple timelines can work. I think for him it was a very scary thing because he would see things and he thought that everything he saw it's going to happen versus as opposed to, oh, this might be a potential of something that this earth is never going to experience. For him, he just thought that whatever he was experiencing, it's this is very real. I need to tell the world because like some bad things are going to happen because he's going through all these bad things because he's like also in a very negative state. So he would just be tied into a lot of these negative kind of timelines. And so yeah, that it was because of that. I think he was like confused partially. He didn't fully figure it all out. But I guess I'm continuing that work in this life and just being like, okay, well, how does time and how do timelines work? And yes, in my last life, I was so serious, and I thought that everything was going to happen exactly as I was getting the information downloads. But in this one, it's more like, okay, there are these potentials, and have to be a bit more grounded with them.
yeah, because I've been following your work a little bit and your like your group on Signal and stuff like that, and I feel like there are definitely similar themes, but it's all, yeah. We've met just recently, so I don't know how it was before you figured out about his lifetime, and were you onto the same topics so clearly, and yeah, was that something that played in your life?
So the connection cut out a little bit from your end, I think. So I didn't hear the full question. Do you think you could repeat the question?
Uh, yeah, how these kind of themes that he was working with are present in your life also prior to finding out potentially about this past life.
Um, y- yeah. So I started thinking about time and timelines. Let's see. Because there was this thing I went through in November of 2022, where it felt like I needed to. Well, this was, I would say this some disassociation that I was in, and it was like I was trying to figure out how to meet or talk to Elon Musk or something. And it was because I thought that the world was going to end, and something like the X-Men was forming now, and like Elon Musk is part of the X-Men, and um and I got to meet up with him because I'm also an X-Men, and we're going to start the X-Men and save the world or something. So so I was kind of going through this alternate reality in 2022 in my mind of like trying to, in my head, I thought I was talking to Elon Musk. Or, I mean, today still, I'm just like, what was that? Well, maybe that was another timeline. So, in my analysis of that event, I had to be like, well, what did I go through? What did I experience? It felt so real to me. I'm like, what was that besides potentially some other timeline that I got signaled into. um, so, so recently, whenever I was putting the pieces together and starting to be like, okay, I think I was Philip K. Dick, I started thinking about these ideas more seriously. And then whenever I, before I went to the mental hospital in January, I was basically, it was like the same scenario of 2022, where I was like in this telepathy network with Elon Musk, and we're trying to figure out how to meet each other. But this is just like, now it's like more deeper as far as the different timelines go, because now it's a concept in my consciousness. So then I'm like, so then the whole story became about us being in different timelines, sort of this being like one, or like attempt 1200, and we've tried to figure out how to meet each other across timelines, and like we have to figure out how to do it, otherwise that's like the world is better in the timeline where we figure out how to meet each other or something. Like, like
Super trippy, but yeah.
Yeah. So I went through these things with Elon Musk or whatever, and then I was like, okay, it feels so real to me. So that's why I was like, yeah, maybe I am Philip K. Dick, because this stuff does feel so real. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like there's like some weird like person that you're trying to meet across time, and how do you meet them, how do you communicate with them, how do you contact them. It's sort of like I was just trying to, I don't know, like for a minute, for a while, I was like, I have to really figure out how to do this, and it's very important. Right now I've let it go a little bit. I'm just like, I just can't. Because if I take it too seriously, honestly, I become destabilized. I become disassociated. I'm like in this weird timeline thing, and I'm like, reality becomes too confusing to me. So if I'm just like, okay, I don't know if this is real or not, I just have to kind of like let it go, and like I believe there are the best explanation I have for it is there are multiple timelines. Like, I'm not fucking crazy. There are just fucking multiple timelines, and like,
Right. Yeah, I mean, and I think also like if you indeed were Philip K. Dick and what's the other one? What's his name again?
Robert William Falcon.
Yeah, I mean, part of being a part of the Hermetic Dawn, and it's kind of like corners of the esoteric reality, and the cards in the beginning. Yeah, I have the feeling definitely that you've self-actualized and learned a lot in this like occult, like occult and esoteric corner, and
Mm-hmm.
you have this grand trine, which also has a sun in the 12th house in Pisces. I don't know, like being, yeah, like having a special ability, like the grand trine, to pick certain things up. Um,
Mm-hmm.
could potentially also, yeah, be something that you've kind of like earned or like gained. I mean, more
Mm.
in your
Very
past
interesting.
life. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So and then Chiron is also in the second house, which could have been the north node of Philip in the second house as well, and in Gemini. So that's literally almost at the exact spot, specifically
Mm-hmm.
being there as a wound, because he did not make that. He didn't manage to embrace the full north node in this lifetime. Um, and we have part of fortune in the fifth house, Leo. So like gaining fortune and earning money potentially by taking the stage, basically, or being in the spotlight, or like this kind of Leo characteristics.
That's very interesting. I've never heard of this fortune thing.
Okay, it's yeah, it's a specific placement.
So that's related to the money, you're saying.
Yeah, or like, yeah, where you can gain
Mm-hmm.
fortune, basically.
Mm, mm.
So for me, it's in Gemini 12th house. So for me, it's literally speaking esoteric truths, so the 12th house themes, speaking it, singing it.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's where I find my forte, being open, being speaking truth and wisdom and all these kind of things. Um,
Uh-huh.
so for you, yeah,
Uh,
potentially would be like yeah, standing on the stage, or like taking your spotlight, getting out of the shadow. Maybe I don't know how it was for Philip in these kind of themes. He was not very much on the foreground. You mentioned.
I mean, he got some recognition and different awards, but I think science fiction, it wasn't that big whenever he was writing it. It's much bigger now. It was sort of perhaps a bit of a newer genre back then. Um, so so I think he was like at the early stages of sort of like a new genre and getting recognition for it, but it comes with the territory of it being kind of like a new genre.
Interesting. Maybe as if you're now supposed to pick that up, kind of, or yeah, um, taking the how do you say that?
The
The
mantle or something.
yeah, yeah, claiming it. Actually, like, yeah, I mean, like, there's a reason that you've been going through these remembering of past lives, and I mean, for me, it's like the biggest theme of my work. It's about past lives, and it's actually it's part of my purpose to express this, to show it, to also help other people showing theirs, and like to normalize it and to open up this kind of karmic stuff for people to realize that we've been building all of this together. I don't know, the themes around past lives is coming up a lot lately, and maybe it's also part of your kind of like, yeah, your purpose to be yeah, to have that as part of your work somehow, or
I was feeling that a few months ago. I think I perhaps I got scared off about going deep into these things because like after I wrote this one post where I shared all this stuff about Philip and all these other things, just like I don't know, it was so weird. I was feeling quite very good, going in flow, and then I shared this, and then March just became a very like dark and confusing month for me. So I had to just kind of take a break from exploring it all because I don't know, it was sort of like I released it and then more and more synchronicities and patterns and I was pulling maybe even more people and it became like oh fuck what's happening like like maybe there is something to this but maybe I don't I can't fully do all this right now because I have to sort out some basic more material things right now
Hmm.
so I can handle the kind of continuing that search that I was doing. But I did have to just be a bit more like, I don't know if that was all real. Like, let's just brainwash myself and like feel good so I can like do some work, like
Yeah, that's part of the initiation. For me, oh man, like the time that I was receiving my my first past lives. Actually, the gym one was the fourth one I was getting, and after that, things collapsed. Like, but I was running, like I was like
oh yeah.
echoing gym, as in like escaping reality, and I was kind of living in Leipzig with a welfare from Amsterdam, Holland. It's like just running away, like just making art in an atelier at the lake. You just kind of like
Yeah,
not thinking about
yeah.
the consequences, just like constantly running away. And
Yeah.
after that, it was
Yeah, yeah, no, no, actually, that's a very good point because once I did the Philip thing, I was just like writing like 100 pages or so, and then I was like, oh fuck, my money's fucking running out. What the fuck am I doing? I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to get a book deal right now. Like, what am I doing? Like,
yes, yeah,
But
clearly,
I wrote like 150 pages. I was like, yeah, I have a fucking book done.
yeah. Yeah, I'm getting so many shivers and energies. Like it's so clear actually that you've been this person to me. Now we're kind of just like connecting all the dots. Yeah, I've had the same, and like being kind of, I was homeless and I didn't have any money anymore and I had debts and like all these kind of things. But meanwhile, I was getting like 8, 9, 10, 11 past lives coming true, and all these kind of, oh my god, all these people that I've been, all these talents, and just like like my whole inner world's changed. And I feel like that's part of the yeah, no, the initiation process is to like become full with yourself from the inside, start believing in yourself from the inside and trusting, and then it starts manifesting outside slowly. But
Yeah.
I guess it's
No,
part of it.
that sounds yeah, no, that sounds beautiful that you went through you got the downloads and then there was like a collapse and like kind of becoming that yeah. Now it's everything's making a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, I think it's part of it. It's like breaking down your ego also, but it's also, yeah, getting challenged to really go within and really start like integrating these past lives in order to become whole and like centered and believing in yourself and all these kind of things. And now I see it slowly, it's starting to manifest in the outside world. Like it's actually really magical. I'm definitely not there and I'm still struggling, but it's like, yeah, I've managed to yeah, to transform my inner world. And now, yeah, and I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah,
How's that for you?
definitely. Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I'm very at peace right now with my inner world and also with the potentials when it comes to the future. Like I'm very at peace and optimistic and just trying to just approach it in a way of logical steps and like do this, do that, okay, follow this. Try to check in when I'm doing too much because I could have a million ideas sometimes. I'm like, okay, let's do an event, do this, do that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, trying to still figure out that balance because whenever I come online and I'm like this way, I want to do like a million things. And I'm like, yes, yes, let's do that, let's do that. But, that doesn't always result in all those things finishing necessarily. So it's more like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how I set the right goals for myself where I'm like, okay, this year, finish the book, finish an album, get this Etheria house moving, get Black Sky a bit more moving again, because Black Sky goes through these waves of like community involvement versus like everything is overwhelming. I need to like recollect and figure out what the fuck I'm doing. You know?
Right. So tell me more about
Yeah.
your community and your setup.
Yeah, Black Sky Society. Um, you know, there. It's. I mean, the vision is to bring forward a very, I would say, future forward society. Um, so as you know, as far as like how we might choose to fund things, what sorts of projects we might do, whether it's spaceships or now, you know, also deeper into the inner world. So I would say that the ultimate vision at the end of the day is, you know, maybe there's a few different creative research centers in a few different locations around the world. Doesn't have to be everywhere, but it's somewhat geographically distributed. Um, so so yeah, the vision though is to just kind of start small, and I focus on the location that I'm building up, and eventually there might be other people that are like, this vision is very resonant. I want to be a part of this network. Um, and then we sort out what that means. But yeah, my focus is, even though it's like mapping out how this might work for society, still starting with one node, you know, one city where I'm at, and then see what happens if there are other nodes that pop up that are aligned with the society vision. And you know, there are different things as far as you know, principles or tenets, sort of metaphysics that we're trying to bring people together to see if we're all somewhat on the same page of how we see the world metaphysically and how we think we need to interrelate when it comes to each of these sky labs. That's the name for a node or a city in Black Sky Society. Um, so so yeah, we're just trying to start things a bit simpler right now. You know, start something like a media network, start a podcast, start writing, and then I'm starting this thing in Crete where you know, it'll start off as a co-living sort of community, but my dreams are it becomes something beyond that. Potentially, you know, buy some land somewhere, etc. I think a lot of people have that vision. It's not that, you know, unique. But I like Greece a lot. As I feel very drawn to this, perhaps because of my past life associations. But yeah, it's sort of like, yeah, just because I am like very deeply interested in trying to understand a lot of this metaphysical, esoteric, mythological things. I feel like Greece is the closest to that, like where I can directly access it. And there's a very ancient history of it, so it feels like where I need to be. For me, I just like being so close to you know, some of the roots of a lot of yeah, just mysticism.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and this whole like the grid of these network space. I think yeah, Natalia is also working on that, and it feels very aligned what you're talking about. And for me as well, like I'm an electrosensitive, so I cannot live in a city or in a actually also in a village when there's like antennas and stuff. I need to be
Oh
out in the
yeah.
countryside, and I live in a camper right now, or like on and off in a farm, and you know these like locations outside of society, kind of like outside of the city, is something that I would need. And yeah, I feel like there's many people like working towards this kind of like building communities, which is very Aquarian age, the new age that we're in. It's like back to the land, back to
Yes.
community based, and back to nature, and
Yes.
it's just, yeah, I feel so aligned, for me specifically with my electrosensitivity. It's just lovely to hear all these initiatives and how people are connecting with the right people and each other, and it's like actually forming a grid slowly on, and very excited to see what that yeah, what that will bring in the future also. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely feel like it does feel like we're in another wave of, yeah, a back to land movement. But I hope this time we get it right, or at least some people get it right, because you don't see many of those communities that are thriving and existing that have like built up to million populate. Not that it needs to be that. I mean, because it's like, to me, I'm like, it needs to radiate into the world. Maybe we figure out what that means, because if it's just like, 100,000 people try this thing for some while and to get away from the rat race, it's not really going to do anything. So I'm just like, I hope that this time it more trickles back into society in a deeper way, as opposed to just being like we need to get away from
Agree.
all the people. Yeah.
I mean, I think like astrologically also, and like giving that we're entering a new age. It's just how it's supposed to be, and this is how it's gonna be. For me, there's not really a doubt. There's no, yeah. Also,
Yeah.
I'm not paranoid about certain parties like trying to, you know. I think we're
Yeah, you just feel like you're certain it's gonna happen.
yeah, we're collectively
Yeah.
moving into this new age, and this new age is just more about this community and back to land and like resonance, and yeah, less about control and patriarchy and all these kind of like establishments and whatnot. It's just gonna be different,
Yeah.
and everybody will be in that. Will be in it because it's just a natural process, astrologically coded in this reality. So it's just, yeah, I feel like just slowly working towards that, which means also first things need to break down. So it's gonna be chaotic and intense, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess slowly people will become aware and see that they need to heal themselves and all this kind of things, and then back to like go back to themselves, so like back to nature more, and yeah, I guess more of these initiatives will pop up, 100%. And maybe some people will be left behind, kind of in a sense, dissociated in the city. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. I mean, that you for sure 100% feel it, because like I said, sometimes I am like that too, and I'm like, yes, this is gonna happen, but then I'm just like, okay, I gotta empty everything out. I don't know what I believe. It doesn't matter. I just today, I'm just gonna do this today. Like whatever the future is, the future, and it happens. But yeah, so it's nice to just, I think, be in this wavelength again, because I had to just delete a bunch of things the past few weeks, but I recognize I like also just believing that, yes, this there's going to be some kind of shift, and we're in it, and we're making it happen, and we're part of it. And yeah, perhaps these past lives and stuff. Yeah, whenever I was starting to write the book exploring the Philip K. Dick stuff, I was getting super deep into it, and I was like, maybe I'll start a website to see if someone challenges me that they're the better Philip K. Dick reincarnated than me, like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's always some people who will say there the reincarnation of Jim Morrison. Like, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, like we just start putting our stories out and see who else is like, but I'm Philip K. Dick reincarnated. I'm Jim Morrison. No, like
yeah,
what?
yeah.
How let's handle these collisions. I like just like see what happens.
It's intense. Everybody lives in their own reality, I guess.
Yeah, your twin flame will show up.
Yeah, and like yesterday, I figured out that, oh, yeah, someone connected to Cameron who was also connected to me, like a filmmaker. And ChatGPT mentioned that he was like obsessed with Jim Morrison, and he was 100% sure that Jim Morrison was the reincarnation of Aleister Crowley, or like a soul aspect. And I was like, yeah, it's my twin flame. So it's like pretty on point stuff. Yeah. Anyways.
I don't know what keeps happening to my video. It keeps disappearing.
Yeah. In terms of the actual reading, yeah, I mean, for me it's pretty clear. I think you've done great work yourself, and I'm just here to confirm it psychically, but also astrologically. There's a lot of resonance there, and makes a lot of sense that you've lived this life, either fragmented or not, but like, yeah, your main part was in this body, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're really confirming it.
Yeah, I can feel it very clearly. So it's yeah, it's pretty. For me, it's pretty sure. Yeah, yeah,
I got a bunch of goosebumps after you said that.
yeah.
Okay,
Awesome.
we have 5 minutes to resolve what's the one before, and then we can.
I think you're sharing the screen, but it's only the meeting, so then it's showing up in the. I don't know. I'm seeing that in.
Like we want to dive back into this other life.
Oh yes, the Robert William Falcon. I don't know if we have enough time to understand that.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be tough in 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just checking here because the T square is popping up.
Maybe the one
Sorry.
before, we can just like get some insights on the one
Yeah,
before.
yeah, maybe going way more in the just like something that I don't have. But I don't know if I mean, I think maybe this is still interesting for you, someone coming here and having some data, and then it's just a different way that maybe is not normal for what you're doing. So you don't have to keep
Okay.
going.
Okay, so Natalia is suggesting to unravel a life before this, and
Yeah, I think we have time for a preview, and then we can maybe do another call diving into that. What do you think?
for me right now, I think an hour and a half is quite a lot. So I would like
Yeah.
rather wrap it up, and
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I think we should just wrap it up, and if you want to do another thing with me, you can, but you also don't have to. I think whatever you feel like.
yeah, we could potentially dive into something else as well, because yeah, obviously you gave me a lot of data in this one, and it ended up more of a conversation back and forth.
I know, that's why I was like, do you want me to say this? Because I thought it would be like a different way, but if I opened it and I said it, it's gonna lead the thing in a different direction,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah. I guess it just had to happen like this.
yeah, yeah.
It'd be also good because earlier this week I had someone who had like an hypnosis thingy, and he had also a bunch of data, and that just like completely added up to my reading. But he came with the data a bit later, and it was like, okay, that makes sense. And I was like in between the reading, and so it's really nice to have people who have also kind of like yeah data, and then it's easier to
Hmm.
confirm it or just check astrology and all these kind of things. So for me, it was
Yeah.
like a full past life reading as well, just different approach. And but yeah, I think we could dive into something else. Yeah. Also, either like
Yeah.
a life that you haven't unraveled yet. We could do the life before. What's his name?
Edward.
Yeah.
Robert RWF. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
PKD and RWF. They're
Okay,
both like
yes, you have the
yeah.
initials.
Yeah.
And then just like to see who that was, and then shortly checking if RKD or Robert is like fitting in this, the reincarnation cycle, and if it makes sense. And then
Hmm.
we have 3 confirmations and 2 readings, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks very much for sharing everything and being present here.
Yeah, thank you. And can you tell me what's the what are you going to do with the video? Are you putting it all online, or are you just taking clips of it, or?
Yeah, right now I'm just putting the full video on my YouTube channel and my website,
Okay.
and then cut a little bit for social media, just like snippets.
Okay.
If that's
Okay.
all right, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I was wondering, do you think it's fine if people have the full birth chart sort of things, like the birth time and all that?
Well, I could cut that out if you want, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I think it might be hard because it's in the video. So it's fine. I think I can just accept that I'm a public person.
Right. I mean, yeah,
Like,
it's probably part of your destiny with your
yeah,
children also.
yeah, because that's also why I was like open to doing this. I was like, I have to be more
Yeah.
comfortable just talking more publicly about these things. So
Yeah, and it's a new
yeah,
age, so you can be less afraid, I guess.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
about like Aquarian age is also about truth and exposure, and yeah. So I think it's fine. And otherwise, let me know. I can just also bleep it or something, or you know.
Yeah, I think it's okay. No, because you're also sharing the screen and it's on there. So I think it's gonna be hard to edit it out. So
Right.
I
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
you know, I think my birth time was the only thing that's really missing from what I've been talking about when it comes to my astrology, but it's fine. I don't think it's I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
okay.
Deal with it.
Yes, I'm accepting.
Great,
And this
great.
this can
Embrace,
be
embrace.
part of the videos when we're contemplating this stuff.
Sure, sure. It's your
Yeah, yeah.
all right. Well, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, let's chat and see when we can hop on another call whenever we feel ready.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, let me know.
All right.
Okay, all right. Take
I
care.
love
Thank
you
you so much
both.
for that, and thank you for your time and looking into this.
You too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.